But securitization, like the credit card, is neither good nor bad. It is just an instrument. It can either be used or abused. I'm Giovanni Inglisa. I work in securitization at the European Investment Fund. Today, EIF Talks, uses of securitization that may surprise you. Today I'm going to ask you for a show of hands. I would like to know whether any of you have ever done the wrong online purchase. You bought the wrong item, you bought something in a smaller size, in the wrong color, you booked the flight for the wrong day. So for sure I'll raise my hand up because it happened to me and I see I'm also in good company here. I was expecting to receive the latest smartphone, but actually I got this, which is an Apple, but it's the wrong Apple. So here is the credit card I used for my online purchase. Is the wrong Apple the credit card's fault? No, it's my fault. The credit card is just a tool. It's neither good nor bad. It can be used or abused. You can do great things with it. You go on your dream holiday. You can also do bad things with it, getting into excessive debt. In American movies, you can even unlock a door and break into an apartment. But ultimately, it's what you do with it that counts. So, what does all of this have to do with us today? Most of you have heard of securitization, and some of you will associate it to the 2007 and 2008 financial crisis, when banks invested in highly leveraged and speculative transactions that contributed to the crisis that we're still recovering from today. But securitization, like the credit card, is neither good nor bad. It is just an instrument. It can either be used or abused. In the simplest of its forms, it simply takes assets from the balance sheet of a bank and makes them available in the real economy. So let's keep things simple. Here we have sugar, flour, and some eggs. Now, would you like to eat this? Probably not. But I'm quite sure that your answer would be different if I ask you whether you'd like to eat this nice cake. Some ingredients that you see there are just more useful in this form than in their original and illiquid form. In the same way, at the European Investment Fund, securitization means that a financial institution can utilize an otherwise illiquid portfolio, like our eggs here, to raise funding or release capital to then be used in the real economy to lend to small businesses in a digestible format. Now, enough with baking analogies. Let me now tell you some of the benefits that securitization is offering. First of all, securitization is making it easier for financial institutions in Europe to raise funding so that small businesses can get the bank loan they need to grow. Small businesses such as the shop down the street, the garage, the delivery company. Securitization is also making it easier for new peer-to-peer lenders, for instance, Funding Circle, to raise funding so that they can grow their lending to small businesses. How? Well, we guarantee a tranche of a small business loan portfolios, which is then sold to institutional investors. Funding Circle, for instance, will then use those funds to increase its lending to small businesses. In a way, the EIF is actually encouraging institutional investors to consider alternative lenders as a viable asset class, so that over time, more and more resources will be available in the real economy to be lent to small businesses. Now, securitization also works outside pure bank loans. We can, for instance, guarantee an equipment and vehicle leases portfolio so that the small businesses can find it easier to lease the goods that they are going to use in their day-to-day activity. Finally, securitization can also be used by a financial institution to free up regulatory capital so that it can increase and boost its lending capacity in the real economy. This means that more small businesses will be able to access financing, more people will be employed, and the whole economy will benefit. Ultimately, the positive effects of securitizations are reaching small businesses that otherwise would not be able to get financing. Now, at this point, it would be fair to ask ourselves what the differences are compared to 2007 and 2008. So back then, a speculative use of securitization was widespread, a use that contributed very little to the wider economy. At the other end of the spectrum, we now have simple and transparent transactions that can be used by financial institutions to effectively manage their loan portfolio as well as their capital. If we go back to our initial analogy, we could say that investors in 2007 and 2008 did not necessarily know that eggs, sunflower, and sugar went into their cake, while now the market operates with transparency, so we know what we are eating. The impact of this is large. In the last 3 years, the securitization activities of the European Investment Fund generated 14 billion euros of new loans to small businesses, 14 billions. These based off on just less than 5 billion euros of securitization transactions. This translates into nearly 500,000 small businesses in Europe being able to access financing just thanks to the activities of the European Investment Fund. So next time you end up with this, don't blame your credit card. As we said, credit cards and securitizations are just instruments. They are neither good nor bad, but they can be used or abused. However, at the European Investment Fund, we strongly believe that securitization can be wisely used for the benefits of the European small businesses. And likewise, if you use your credit card wisely, you get better chances of not ending up with the wrong apple. Thank you.